How do you handle your life? How do you take control of your life? And I feel as if now more than ever that's important, to have a grasp on your own life. Sometimes some people can be spiraling out of control. They have no way to grab a hold of something, of themselves, essentially. They don't know how to grab a hold of themselves. Sometimes they just reach and go for other things that aren't them. Different sources of life, I guess. Different sources of attachment, whether it's relationships, alcohol, drinking, video games. It can be so many things, so many different ways. Someone can be a workaholic, just as someone can be an alcoholic. Like, what are we grabbing towards? What are we grasping in order to sort of run away from ourselves? That's what I find it as. A lot of times we run away from ourselves and disassociate with ourselves. We don't communicate with ourselves. We don't do none of that. And sometimes we have goals, we had ideas, we have those things that, seem like this grand epitome of our life. This is an achievement of a lifetime. And sure, achieving that is amazing. You got goals, you go for it, you do it. That's amazing. But at the same time, it's like I feel as if we don't acknowledge the journey and the process in becoming. And everyone says that, it's not about the destination. It's about, the way there, like the journey. It's not the destination, but the journey, which is true. But sometimes I feel as if we are on the wrong path, on a path that isn't necessarily ours, or we don't truly want. We can't back out because we spend so much time in what we know. What we know. I was taught this, I was raised this way, I was shown this. I've never seen anything besides that. If I do something different, I get judged and criticized. So why would I try something different? We limit ourselves. Ourselves, and that's just one way of looking at it. Sometimes we don't think we're worthy of it. Sometimes we don't think we're, worthy of achieving something, or worthy of becoming something, or worthy of being. We don't think we're worthy. We don't think we're worth much. When in reality, it's like that in itself. A lot of times it's comparison. We compare ourselves to other people. We compare ourselves to other things, what people have, what you see on the outside. Even mentality, sometimes you see, oh, I wish I had that mentality. I like how he's ambitious. I like this. But you can just as easily be there. You won't be the exact same person because you have your own life. You have your own individual path to follow. But the sort of things you get, like resilience, grit, all that, confidence, trust in self, essentially, comes from experience, comes from living, is in a sense. Sometimes I feel like we hold ourselves back from living, from truly experiencing. And it's weird because I was just thinking too, sometimes I feel like we discredit ourselves because it's like, okay, I'm not gonna make some huge impact on the world. I'm not gonna. You expect yourself to have some sort of universal change in the universe. Like, you're not a universe necessarily, but you're a person, and a person who can change other people and change with the people around you and change yourselves. Because think about it, the only thing you truly have control over is yourself. Personal change. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things that we can do. Personal change, personal growth, self-development, all these labels we have on it, but it's an evolution of self. We change and change and change. The older we get, our mind either reframes or maintains. We keep the same ideas, we keep the same ideologies, we keep doing the same thing, habits, and it could be cool for us, perfectly fine. or it can. And that's when you know you need to change something. You don't have to do some grand change. You can just take things step by step. And you know, sometimes we need a plan. We need to take a step back and try and see. But in order to have an idea of what it is, we necessarily have to try things out. If we want to go in the idea of, you know, jobs, you can, I guess, research different jobs. I can't say you just hop into a job. You can't. But you research different jobs, what means something to you, passions. You can try different activities, even the way we eat and things like that. You know, we could always try something new, but at the same time, it's like, those are just like outside things. What about the inside? What about the inside? What we think about, what we think of ourselves, essentially, because I feel as if what we think about ourselves is what we put out. It's the sort of energy we give off. If we feel good about ourselves, we're just good vibes, you know, expressing yourself in that manner. And I feel as if it shows. It really does show. If you're sad, if you're, you know, upset, angry, it shows that you're that. Your actions, your manners, your way of speaking, it shows. And you may not say, I'm angry, but everyone else can notice. And maybe that's the thing. It's our potential for change that is so great. It's so great. And the moment you give the power of yourself away, the power to have decisions and actions, it's like you lose yourself. You lose yourself trying to be someone for someone else, who could also be falling in that same trap, being someone for someone else. And it's a cycle, being people for people who are being different people than who they are. And it's a sort of weird cycle we have right now. I don't think it's necessarily healthy. We tend to hide parts of ourselves. And I'm not saying we're gonna put everything out there, by all means, we're not. You know, there's a sort of privacy and way of letting people get close to us that we have to acknowledge and understand. But I'm just saying, being fake, being inauthentic, showing yourself as someone that you aren't. You know, and even so, you may have a reaction that's based in that present moment, and that's how you felt in the present moment. No one can take that away from you. No one can say, okay, you're wrong for, you know, doing that or feeling that. You're wrong for feeling that. Like, no, that's how you felt. Something made you upset. Something made you angry. That's how you felt. Now, whether you do something about it, that's on you. That's on you too. Sometimes I feel like we don't process our emotions completely. Because think about it. Sometimes we may feel it. No, I felt angry. Okay. There's 10 units of anger, but we only like process 2 of it, so that 8 gets stored. Another thing happens, 10 more, we only process 2. 8 more gets stored. And it builds up, and maybe one day it just pops and everything just explodes. That could happen. I can't deny it. Or maybe it just shows or manifests itself in different ways. It shows itself in different ways. And that release of the pent-up emotions, the emotions that are held back, withdrawn, or even avoided, we need to express those. Whether it's sadness, you know, we gotta grieve. You know, whether it's happiness, we show, you know, appreciation. It's not just a negative, it's a positive too. A lot of times we don't acknowledge the positive things. In a weird way of the world where it's like the negativity is shown at the top. It's the first thing we see. The positive things are kind of not as prevalent. It's a weird way of how that works. Like our mind is constantly just looking for bad stuff. Just chaos in the world. And guess what? I have a feeling that affects us too, mentally. We constantly see things going wrong in the world that aren't necessarily in our control, but it affects us, you know? And it builds up. But then at the same time, it's like we should understand ourselves. I can't do nothing about that. I can't. How could I? How could I possibly do something about this? I'm just one man. I'm one woman. I'm one person. I'm an individual. I'm not all powerful. I'm not all knowing. Because if I was all knowing, I'd be able to change it. I'd be able to solve it, but I don't. And it's the acceptance of the fact that I only know so much. I can only do so much. And with what I can do, I'm going to do my best at it. With what I know at the time. Sometimes it's a funny experience, like you look back at your life and you see the dumb things you did in your life. You're like, why'd I do that? That was so corny, that was so cringy. But at the time you probably thought it was the best decision at the time. For whatever reason. But you're looking in the future now, you're like, I shouldn't have done that. Or like, I should have done this instead. But you did the best you could at that time. And it's that single fact that you realize you could have did something different shows that you changed. Shows that, you aren't the same person you used to be. That's evolution right there. That's change. That's growth. So acknowledge that. Appreciate it. Continue on with your day. And, on the way, just because I just got off of work, right? I was having this mental conversation. And I already forgot about it. It was so profound to me that I just want to talk about it. But now that I'm here sitting, I can't remember. I genuinely can't remember. I'm always just freestyling, and I wish I would have wrote it down when I was driving. So, oh wow. But from what I can remember, a part of it being was, sometimes we give up our power, we give up our ability to choose because of other people. And it's not like one day we just suddenly gave up control. It's possible, but that's not where it started. Because think of a kid. You base who you are off of other people. You're a kid, you don't know anything. So guess what? You see people saying this about you, that about you. You shouldn't do this, you should do that. Morals, ethics, all that. The positive, negative, what is good and bad, why it's good and bad. It's all just kind of thrown upon you as you grow up. You can't help it. I can't help it. We were young. We don't know. And sometimes we're shown things that are harmful to us. And our parents sometimes didn't know any better. And then it sticks with us. We don't find no source of change. We're never taught how to grow into our own person most of the time. A lot of times we aren't. We aren't grown into that. We're just told, do this, do that. Follow my plan. Don't make your own plan. Follow my plan. In their own best interest too. By best interest, I mean they want what's best for you with what they know. Sometimes it may be a good plan. A lot of the times it could be a good plan, but it's not right for you. It's not meant for you. And I think that's where sometimes we just feel this sort of tension, like they did all this, I'm kind of disregarding all of it. Like that's painful, because at some point that may cause disruption within the relationship. It's very possible. But it's like in the sense where as we grow up and as we get older, we start to have more what would be the right word? I guess autonomy. We are able to choose our own actions, our own decisions for our own reasons, and in a way, yes, it's selfish, but in the same way, it's like you can't always do everything for everyone else. And it has to be like that sometimes, We can't always help others, because then it's like, when will you be there for yourself? When will you be there for yourself? And being honest, being completely honest. There was a point in my life where it was like, there was so much to process, there was so much to figure out, there was so much I didn't know, but it was like, you know, at the same time, I didn't know if I wanted to talk about it. I didn't know if I wanted to share it. And even now, I'm like, you know, I'm not gonna put it out there to people, except for obviously right now. But it's like I only say it when it's necessary. I don't want to kind of put it on to people, and because a lot of it I've figured out, I've understood, and I've accepted. I've moved past that. You know, all the worries and thoughts my mind used to have. And that's all it was. That's all it was. Just worries and thoughts. Doesn't mean it's the end of the world, but at the same time, it's like I can't not like ignore them. I have to pay attention somehow. It's telling me something. I'm worried for a reason. I was stressed for a reason. I was upset. I was annoyed. I was easily angered in a way. You know, and it took a lot. It took a lot of introspection. It took a lot of help. It took a lot of understanding to realize that it's not the end of the road. It's not the end of my character. It's not the end of being. Because even just as a human, as a person living, we have so much potential for growth. So much. And it's all this potential that is getting wasted because you don't want to play it out. You don't want to grow out your potential. You don't want to try and do something more. I didn't want to try and do something more. I just got home from work, did nothing, and for me, nothing was watch Netflix, just play games. And there's nothing wrong with doing that because I still play some video games. I don't really watch shows now. But even so, it's like I'll do it for the entertainment and knowing everything else on my day is it's either done or I'm on track or ahead. Like I know everything's gonna be done. And that's when I give myself some time to relax. You know, just not even relax, but just to kind of shut my brain off for a bit. You know, just have some entertainment in a way. Because at the same time, I also create space for me to connect with myself. At a time, I just sit in the room, just 5-10 minutes, just thinking. And not even just thinking, sometimes I just be breathing, sometimes journaling, just trying different things out. Trying so much different things out, seeing what stuck. And for me, it was just better to kind of breathe and just feel what I'm feeling and allow my thoughts to pass. What shows up, it goes. And here comes another thought, it goes. I didn't really necessarily feel attached to it. I just kind of looked at it and it was like, wow. Even now, as I'm reading more, I enjoy just seeing the different concepts and how it could be applied. Because there's a book, I highly enjoyed it. I gotta reread it just because it's that good. It's called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And you know, saying money doesn't make you happy. In a way, it does, and in a way, it also it has less stress. Because imagine having no money in society right now. You would be. I feel like there'd be so many problems, so many worries. You know, everything has a worry and a struggle. Being rich has its own worries and struggles. You know, everything has its own set of problems. So. But that book, it was amazing. It talked about, you know, money, the way we think about money, where it could come from, and how it could affect us. You know, a good point, which is easily able to be brought up, is like people who win the lottery. They have a certain financial limit or money they're able to manage comfortably. So after some time, they'll spend all that money and be back at where they are comfortable with managing the money. And not just being able to be there, but being able to expand it and be able to handle more. And why do we think of money the way we do? Is money evil? No, money is just money. It's a form of value. But a lot of times we attach things that happen because of money to it. You know, someone did this terrible thing with money. Okay, money must be evil, not. Instead of realizing it was the person behind it, the intention and the reason why they did it that is evil. Or good. You know, a lot of people do good things. Philanthropy, you see people donating, helping others. Whether it could be you helping the guy down the street who needed something to eat. Or some big person, some rich man building homes in a third world country. It's all the same. It's all creating value. But I guess even with that whole point of just taking control of your life, it's like some things not in your control. Realize what is and what isn't in your control. You know, sometimes we think we have control over it, but we don't. For example, the results. We don't have control over the results. We can try the actions in order to achieve that. That's it. That's it. You play a sport, let's say soccer, because that's what I know. You train, so you can win matches. But the winning matches isn't guaranteed. It's just a byproduct of what can happen because you train. So I guess that's one attachment that kind of need to let go of. We not even let go of, but it's like we don't even have control of it in the first place. We don't know when we'll pass away. That's not in our control. So live every moment like it's your last, as much as you can. Because sometimes we forget. Sometimes we forget that, you know, I'm not gonna be here forever. I'm not gonna be here forever, but let me make the most of it. With this finite life, with this finite time, let me make the most of it. Because it's weird, a lot of us, you know, we realize we don't have it forever, but we waste our time recklessly. We spend it so recklessly, we invest it so terribly. And the only reason I say terribly is because we do something and then we regret it. You know, if you did it and you were cool with it, then whatever. It was well spent, it was spent however. But if you do something with your time and you said, I shouldn't have done that, you're wasting your time recklessly. You're wasting yourself recklessly. So figure out what's in your own best interest, your standards, boundaries, principles, all of it. And you can live in accordance to that, you know. And things change. You change and expect your ideals to change most likely. What got you here won't get you there. Where you are right now is not what will take you to that next step. Because think, the me at 16 would not get me where I am right now. Quite frankly, the me at 18 wouldn't. The me at 20 wouldn't. And the me at 22 right now won't get me where I need to be at 24. It's a progression. It's a progression, and seeing that, you know, I can't be the same person always. I change. My mind is gonna change. I grow, adapt, everything. We all do. You know, why are we so constricted? Why do we constrict ourselves? And again, I said maintain and reframe. You maintain that sense of identity that you have. Whether it be a procrastinator, whatever label you put on yourself. It could be a go-getter. It could be things that are relatively positive. A go-getter, a hustler, ambitious person. You know, you maintain that, and through that, it shows good results. Or, you know, let's say on the opposite side, you know, you procrastinate. You're gonna have to reframe, change the way you look at things. And that's what matters, you know. If you don't want to maintain it, reframe it, change it. Change it. That's what we do. Change. Because everything else around us will continue to change. Technology is going to continue to advance. There's probably going to be more social problems. but some other things get solved. You know, more worries of other people, more stress, and hopefully we become a pillar of peace and tranquility for others. Because not everyone is able to. Not everyone is able to be there for themselves. Not everyone is able to put themselves at ease. So maybe you can be that one. Maybe you can be that person. Okay, I know you're stressed. You know, you can tell them, let's just breathe. Let's breathe. Or, you know, you can just be there for them. Non-judgmental. That's a lot of the problems nowadays. We judge. We judge ourselves and we judge other people. We assume things too. We assume what an experience is like instead of actually experiencing. That's what I realized. We think we know how something would be, but we don't because we haven't done it. And we stop ourselves because we think we know. Like, let's say climbing Mount Everest. You would, what do you think you would feel? What do you think it'd feel like? What would you feel? You know, and you may have answers, right? But do you truly know? No, unless you've actually done it, and then you can confirm. You know, it's like a theory. Is that what it's called? An experiment, where you'd have the hypothesis, you test it out, and then I can't remember. It's been a while, but essentially that's what I'm thinking about. That's our life. A series of actions and thoughts into our actions, and we move forward headstrong, you know, however we feel about the situation we feel. But there's a separation between actions and thoughts and feelings. But I think I went on for long enough. I enjoyed the conversation, as I felt as if there was one huge point. Like, there was one thing when I was speaking as I was driving, because the way I worded it, I can't remember though, but I even said to myself, I'm like, that's a bar, but I can't remember it. And maybe, who knows where this YouTube thing will lead us. Truthfully, being honest, I do want it, you know, to get more popularity, being honest. All in due time though, as I know in the future I'm gonna have to continue to improve my speaking, my word choice, what I talk about, all those things. I know I have to. And at the same time, it gets me thinking about, you know, in a way of kind of, it's like a lot of times you kind of clickbait in order to kind of pull someone in, and then you show them some, it's still within that topic, but it's not like that kind of feels that fear, feels that, you know, feeling. Because it gets me thinking, it's like, again, we gravitate towards negativity. And guess what? If you were to use some sort of title that spark a negative emotion, it's like, okay, I pulled you in, but let me show you the bright side of things, you know? That's where it gets me thinking of, just as far as the YouTube channel thing. I don't know, I have mixed feelings on it, but it's like, it might have to. You know, is it selling out? I guess in a way it kind of is, because think about it, it's like, if I'm doing something in a way which is, if you really think about it, a little manipulative, you know, you're choosing your word choice in a way that's makes you feel something. It's a bit of manipulation in a way, or it's guide you in some sort of fashion. And this is me being truthfully honest. It makes me feel a bit off, but at the same time it's like, hopefully, you know, my articulation, the message, the meaning behind what I'm saying impacts you, that it doesn't even matter, you know? That's what I wanted to come to. But I think I'm gonna just leave it off there, honestly. Thank you for listening. See ya.